Okay, I'm gonna be standing here painting just like this.
Go, Tam.
Can you all see okay? If you can't, you have to move.
It's quite awesome here, hitting the thing down.
If there's noise in the audience, I stop painting. No two ways about it. For those of you who are you're with me, you'll go away. Very simple. For those of you who will eventually give a demonstration, make sure that the surface is in good light, not bad light. Make sure if you're right-handed that the light's coming over your left, so there's no cast shadows. You can see your marks. Okay. I have tree is one of my favorite subjects. I got involved with it when I was seriously involved with it. I'll explain that in a minute. When I was in Woodstock, 1970 to 1983. I loved winter when those green leaves were gone. And for a number of years, I painted my trees without any green leaves or just a little flutter. I liked the anatomy of trees. I'm going to show you a few things that are on the back of my mind that I know about and you might not know about, and I want you to understand this before I jump into color. So I'm going to take some charcoal or something else but pastel. And after all these years of looking at something there and putting it here, and especially portrait work where you have to really measure to get a likeness. It's more difficult when you go outside. The reason for that is when you're working on a portrait, it's here it is. When you're working outside, there's so many different things that here it is not as predominant. Or I take. When I go like this, and I feel good, I proceed. The minute I do that, I know there's this short distance and this long distance. And I go like that, and I'm going to go something like this. And this is going to come longer. Now the light's coming in from that side. And I'll make this stronger and I'll make this softer. So you get a sense of that. Then you have branches. Now I like very long branches because there's a tumult here. Here right now is not a tumult, it's clear. I'm going to explain that to you. So without going out to here, but right here, the underneath plane looks like that. And notice how this line is darker, softer, darker. There's some calligraphy to that line. It has to do with form. And it's going to be like this. And we're going to have a cast shadow that's very strong and very small and very dark. Then we're going to go up here, go out, don't worry about this. And it could be thinner, thicker. Let's make it a little thinner. The reason why I said let's make it a little thinner, if I made it the same thickness as this, it could be a touch boring, it could be. Now this one is coming into here, and it has a cast shadow, and it looks like that. And this thing comes here, and there's something happening with a branch. It's not that. If you are a woods person making things, and you have to buy a plank of wood, you don't want to buy it with knots, because that could throw your saw off very easily. And that's the area where something grew out of. And I'd like you to kind of, okay, so one thing I learned drawing the figure of the portrait is if I had one color further down, the minute I would get into apex, the furthest part, I go right across and see if the other column is above it or below it, okay? So this measuring is part of it. Now, when I go like this, and I make this mark here and this mark up there, when I start this part of the collar, I go around the neck to this thing. So it's one collar. So going around the thing, rather than just going to this thing, going to my sleeves, and God knows where the other collar is by the time you get to it. So there's a lot of drawing through things. Now let's make believe the telephone company cut off a branch. Usually it's a round circle, but when the round circle becomes a little bit like this, you know that branch went that way, and you know this one went this way. So these little things you will see. Okay, now when I come down here, I'm going to have it like that. And then I say, where's the other side? The other side is lower and straighter. So there's an angle here. Now, you won't see this unless you get up closer to the tree and enjoy the bark. There's a few things about the bark, but right now, I always sort of really meant something like this. You know? The idea that you're standing like this in the river made no sense to me. But with the tree, it's a little different. Here's the front of my hand. Go right through the thumb. Don't go up here, then go like this. Go up here and go right through the thumb. And get to the wrist. It's thinner than this, but it's the front. Go up to here, and the supinator and extender and all that stuff. It's wider, it's thinner, whatever it is, it's the front. and it's straight. Now, how can I get wonderful rhythm from this straight tree? And ready? There it is. I'll do it again. Everything is facing front, everything. I'm just grabbing a hold of this, and I'm going like this. Now the front is here, and the front is there. And that's how trees grow. It's like a spiral. And you will see it if you get up closer to the tree and enjoy the bark. Like a nature study artistically. So the light is coming in from the left and above. And every time this thing starts going in like this, it might get just a tad darker. Now this is like this. And on the other side of it, something's happening. So I take this and I say, this is the front. And it's the same width all the way up. In other words, what I said here, this was wider, this is thinner and all that. For our magical tree, it's going to be the same. So here is the front. And here it is. And as it's going this way, the front is going that way. Can you sense that? Because I'm going to just be painting it and it's going to be flying at you. And it comes up to here. And just like these things don't grow, they spin out from the trunk. So there's something going on here. And sometimes you can see it very clearly. And on our, it's going to go like that, and then it's going to go longer. And then here, I'm going to make it just a tad darker. Why? Because light's coming in this way. This one I'm going to erase for the moment. And this thing goes around it. And then there's something happening like this. But in our mind, the front is turning to the side. Okay? Is there any question about this? Okay, good. So this is all in my mind, plus other things, but let's start just with this. And let's say, well, I want to paint this. Okay. I work from dark to light. And I'm gonna, this is a very nice set. It's not my set, but it's a very, very nice set. Lovely colors. If you were a student of mine, I would ask you to buy, they used to be called new pastels, NU-pastel.
I have them.
Like-
All of them.
Huh?
I have all of them.
Black, white, and a dark gray or a dark green. That's all you need. And you can draw like, you know, that's very delicate, more so than these clumpy things, okay? So my set usually has that. I looked and I didn't see any of that here. So I'm going to take this, and she has lovely colors. And I'm going to reinforce this. And don't worry about that part right now. Hard for me to get what I want with these square things. So I have that, and it's going to be in the woods. And I'll do this. And remember I said drawing right through things, so don't worry, don't come up to here and then down to here. Just go right through it. Like I told you with the collar, now we're talking about the top of the branch and the bottom of the branch. We're talking about the background. So the background goes right in here. Okay. Now, I like to paint my pictures with an underpainting and an overpainting. And for the underpainting, I make sure that's strong. And I make sure this is not strong. So there are strokes where it's a shot and then fading away. So you can get more texture and color out of each chalk. Because as you see, I'm lighting this up, a dark color gets lighter. So I have more than one color in each chalk if I vary the pressure, okay? As far as, okay. I'm putting that in, and you see how soft that is as compared to this. I'm working on 500 grit new art paper mounted by the company.
500,
Yeah.
better than 400?
Well, no, 400 is good, 500 is over 600.
Okay.
This is exactly what I'm working on. I bought,
What size is that? Well, I think it's nice.
yeah, and you can photograph this and you have that
Oh,
information.
yeah.
And something on the sales.
You should be, huh?
No, I'm not. I just like to give credit where it's due.
Is this painting that you're doing right now out of your head?
Yeah,
Okay.
out of my head is
Intuitive.
55 years of thinking,
Right.
trees.
Got it.
So when you finish the work, you could put it back in the sleeve and it's protected.
Nice.
Um,
By the board.
Yes, it's a board, thank you.
Yeah.
And the company mounted for you,
Huh?
and, well,
Very nice.
before I go any further, I want to introduce you to my lady. Linda, come on up here, please.
Me already.
This is Linda Wells. Well, they might have met you, but I want you to know we're together. I'm here because of her. She's here because of me. I
She's
mean,
an artist too.
oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at times I might just say Linda. And she is,
She's beautiful.
isn't she?
Yeah.
We're going to celebrate our 5th year anniversary, November 6th.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you, sweetheart. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. I have a few ways, and I don't want to get into other ways. I just want to stay with this way. So instead of putting it down like this and leaving it like that, I just need a whisper of it. And it looks like that. And it looks like that. And if the tree was gone, what's here is here. I mentally do that. I mentally do that so that I do not go from this side and then later go to that side. Remember the color? Well, the background here is there. And the tree is part of the background. It might be the most important part of the painting. So for the moment, I'm going to stay with my center. Don't worry about that. I was taught that before you do anything with the center edges, you got to cover the whole surface. Okay, I found for me, if I covered the whole surface and then went to the juice of the picture, it wasn't as juicy. Now, this is juicy, because this is what I'm in. Okay. So this is really the wrong color. And I'll look for a dark green. Greens are tricky. You get a dark green, and many a time it's just not dark enough, and it's the darkest green you have. What I'm doing is I'm picking out 3 or 4 in case one doesn't work. Usually the first thing I pick up works, but let's see what this looks like. It looks kind of blackish. Let's see. I'll put it next to that. And it has a purple quality to it. Well, I see purple. All right. This is a new set for me and a new light source. So, okay, I'll take this, and I usually use things on the side. There's the green. And instead of using this soft, what are you doing? Oh, you're helping me find the greens?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
The dark greens, right?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Have a seat. So this is my background instead of that. Okay? And I want the tree to swim within the picture. And that's what all this is about. And then I'll get my darkest thing. And I'll okay. Now, is this a gray tree or a brown tree or what? So I have the cast shadow. And it's going to be a gray tree. So I'm taking the same gray and I'm going like this. I'm varying it.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah,
It's coming alive.
thank you.
Yeah. I love it.
Isn't it a beauty? So I leave that. And now I go back to my drawing. And like I say, I have, I'll take a small area. I'll do that. And it goes around. Okay, so I'm going like this and I'm going like that. Okay? I'm varying the pressure of each. Is that a baby?
Yeah.
I love other people's baby. So look what the drawing, there's a certain thickness to the bark, otherwise you're not going to see this.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's a great feeling to it.
And now I'm going, as they say in New York, that's hard, soft, hard again. So look at that as that one line.
I love it. It's so beautiful. It just has a lot of feeling to it.
It does.
It's like,
Yeah, I call that calligraphy, where the line
I get it.
does that. Now, at this point, this is a demonstration. And this is all in my head. The light's coming in from there. There's that. I'm going to just do it here and there.
That white,
No, it's off white.
off white, and a grayish white.
Uh,
Oh, that's from the. Yeah.
so this gives you an idea of the bark. Now with the bark, like I say, I'm not used to this. There's a okay. Now I go right through this into there. Make believe it's cut off. So these are close care shadows. Look at that. Come in.
Get this on a camera so we can see what you're doing.
I wish.
TV screen, they could watch. Which one, honey? Really? You better get serious.
Oh, I do. You see it stroke.
You're welcome to move. I ain't moving.
Yeah, we got. You won't hear what I can- Yeah, you missed what I-
I'm like right in here. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna have to-
Okay.
I don't mind you moving at all. So I'm going back and I'm re-establishing the underneath plane as best I can. And now I want to get some other greens, which are richer.
I want to watch something, like.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I know. Okay.
Sweetheart, have a seat.
Oh, what a great scene.
So now I'm coming here and there's a branch. And I say to myself, this bit of green that brings out this here, as if it had a head of its own. I say, well, it's wider down here. And as it goes past that and it gets thinner. I look at this as some kind of a movement, or I like to use the word rhythm. Now I'm going to take this and bring it right next to the tree. And then I'm going to just slide down. In other words, and I'm going to do this like this, because now I'm at the very first stage. And I want to have an underpainting which does not fill up the tube. And the tree comes out here, and rather than just go to the tree, I go through the tree. Is everything okay? I did a Zoom last February. I had 159 people. It was a 4-day Zoom class. And usually when I give a workshop, I demonstrate in the morning, and in the afternoon, I help everybody at the easel. But this was all day. It was interesting. I ended up loving it. Okay. Is everything all right? Now there's a care shadow. Let's talk about care shadows for a half a minute, because there are two kinds outdoors. There is a pole and the care shadow. That was the first clock, as the care shadow change. But for our purposes, the care shadow shows you where the light's coming from, what's throwing it, and what it's laying on. So the care shadow is really something, I consider it succulent. There's another kind of care shadow, and the best way to show that, once you have a little bit more, this is a demo. If I wanted to make this a little bit darker, rather than take it apart and put it back together again, I can do it with that. So this is a care shadow from something across the way. It's not a close care shadow. It's a more subtle one. And you won't realize it unless you take your glasses off or squint. And it's part of both areas. Okay. Now, once I have that, I'm going to emphasize it a little stronger. Once I have that, I go back to my bark. And I do that, and suddenly you're not aware of the cast shadow, but it's there. And got something brighter. This is not white. Close. And I'm going to try and get that plane. There. So the cast shadow here is kind of sleepingly part of it. I'm going to pick this up. And I'm going to lighten it just a touch to bring out that cast shadow just a touch more, okay? But that cast shadow is made with vine charcoal. And I'm picking it up again. See, it doesn't make as much of a dark as I want. That was with the green. As the thing turns into more light, even the accents are affected. So let's take my tree and let's do some more with it. I believe this is what I was using. And what I do is I make a mark. Yes, that's what I was using. My advice to everybody is to use the side of the paint. Nice. Okay, so I have this. And I'm going to take something to balance it out. And believe it or not, it might be this. This might be too dark. That's too light. All right, I'm going to vary the pressure of this and weaken it and put it right next to it. So let me show you what this is. When I picked it up, I tested what I had. I had that. But I want something to swim in out of this, right? So I took this, and rather than go find something else, I lighten this up and I go right into it. When two colors touch and there's no edge or there's a very soft edge, those two colors, no matter what they are, practically, are close in value. So let's say I want to drift something else into this. And okay, now we come back to drawing, and I like to draw with this. This thing is going to go like that, and this one's going to go lower. It might even go off the page. We'll see. Now I need some browns. Could this be it? What is it? It's that. Could that work? We'll see. Notice how it's the exact same value as the green. and how the green vibrates, especially up here, because I have something else besides green. And it's not a darker green. Okay, now this and these two are happily married. And I'm going to take this and bring it to the fore. In other words, more of it. And I'm going to go in here. And it's basically to marry with the green. So this is how I get those colors that you all like. All right. So I'm going to use charcoal and say down here, there's another cast shadow. Like that. And I'm going to take a green and it's in the shadow where the mysteries dwell. In other words, soft edges. Again, it seems unfinished until you get specific. Now here, this thing, remember I said, remember the thing I showed you? Well, the front of it is here. And let's say it's twisting here. And it's going to twist. And the front of it is going to turn. Let's get this again. And now I'm hitting it stronger. This might be too bright, but we'll see. Okay. All right. I'm not done with this. I'm not going to worry about that. Oh yeah, when you have a crisscross, have one be in front of the other and have the other one very secondary. So it goes behind that and they're not crashing into each other. And again, keep it simple as far. Watch what happens when I do this. Now with that, if you don't have this, it's just a line. But if you have the plane, look how that changes that into that. So I'm going to take this green. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to block it in. Now, sometimes these leaves cut across tree. So I'm going to pick up something much brighter. Now you can't see that. So that means it's the value of this buff paper, right? Because you can't see it, look. So I'm using something very light. And it might be too light. I start with it, I'll keep going. I might get a little richer. So if you're going to look for that, hold this and say, well, what's richer and darker? So this thing, you can't see. That thing you can see. So I'm using a stroke that is a stroke, but it's not meant as a stroke. I don't know how to put it to you. And I go right across everything, and I say, where does this end? Well, it's going to go up. And not only is it going to go up, they're starting to go here. And what I do now with these leaves is tie up the foreground and the background. And okay. Now I'll take my dark. And I want to bring out this cast shadow. That's why I'm doing this. Bring out the cast shadow. So I go above the cast shadow. I give it a little bit of a shot. I go underneath the cast shadow. And I'll get a little closer. Closer. And then I'll soften this away. And then, for the heck of it, since I'm doing all this for the cast shadow, I'll go right to here and just emphasize it. So with this cast shadow, that's all remember I had that in mind, the cast shadow. I didn't have anything else in mind. And I started with this. Yep, I did. Maybe a little lighter. So I'm going to take this and see what I have here. Let me show you what I'm dealing with. I have that. It kind of worked. Oh, okay. Well, this is very close in value. That's fine. But it's warmer. And I'm hitting it harder. And I'm only interested, believe it or not, in bringing out that cast shadow. This is how I go about finishing the work. Okay. Let's try this out. This should be wrong. No, it's not wrong. So this is a demonstration. I'm not trying to finish a picture, but I am developing this area. This vignette has to be softened a bit. So that's putting in so for those who can't think of doing anything else until they go from corner to corner to corner, that's what I was taught. And I figure that's what you're all being taught. And voila, corner to corner. Now, I want to get some strong greens. Greens are tricky. Greens are very tricky. There was a period of time there when I wouldn't work on my trees during the summer. Because the greens covered skeleton, and I was more interested in the skeleton. And then I got very interested in the greens of summer, but okay, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to say this comes down to this. A little further down. Look how cold that is and how warm that is. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So I'm slipping that into there. Look how that's developing into a busy forest,
Change the whole.
didn't it? Now I'm going to go right through it as if the tree was, and this here, part here, has something to do with this.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Now, as I develop this, and I have this just like this, watch what happens when I put in go right past it. Keep going. Don't worry about where it ends. Right now, you're concerned. And there's a little one. And this one here, there's so many little twigs. Now, I like to do variations of a theme. And I remember doing a few works just to get that twig business. Now I do that, already it's in front of that. And if I take some black, and this is a dark green, and I go like this, and I soften that, and I pick it up later. I have a crisscross that works. Again, every little thing counts. Take nothing for granted. And what I'm going to do is darken this a bit. Lovely. As you get towards the edge of the page, you want it to go underneath the frame. That's something I learned a long time ago. And okay, I'm not too sure what the heck this is. Look what's going on in here. Can you sense it as being, okay. So I need some more green.
Interesting.
And tie it up with that. Remember, this here part was just dragged over to get rid of the white. Remember that? I hope so. Okay. Now within greens, believe it or not, purple is magic. And let me see what we have here. This might be too light. No, perfect. See, it's the same exact value as the green. See, a lot of people make the green darker, lighter, and for me, fine. But to me, it's boring. But if I can put the complement, purple is red and blue. Now I'm just floating this in there to make it more harmonious. And I want to get closer to that so that when I put that back in, it stands out. Okay. Now, I want to make this more. What shall I use? Let's try this. I'm not too sure where these thoughts come from. I'm intuitive and usually I'm pretty right. Look what that does. And let's leave that alone. And let's take our black or whatever this is. And come on in. And that's going to be a cast shadow of green. So I need a very dark green. Let's see what this is. This is not darkening. Now, with this stuff down here, Well, they got a nice yellow green. I'll try this. Nope. What I would do is build this up here and have it come through here.
That is
How am I doing, Linda? 10-minute warning? All right. What I'm doing is reestablishing the docks. And then I'm going to fade away from that. Reestablish that.
How are you guys doing?
What?
I'm just checking on our Zoom viewers.
How are they doing?
I think we're doing good. How are you guys doing? Can you unmute yourself? Say something. We have 10-minute warning on the presentation.
Love this.
Albert, would you mind questions if people will ask
No, they
questions at
can
this
ask,
time?
they
So
can
I
ask
guess at
questions.
this time you can ask questions. No, I'm just making eye contact because I don't see them and I see you.
If anybody's interested in demo, it's $2,000. And,
Which one is the flowers? The one that-
no, this one is. One more stroke. And then it's over. It's over.
Ta-da!
Oh, yeah, okay.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging with us. Please unmute yourself and give Albert feedback. We will post this video and I will take photo of demo later. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like everything on our social media. Will be more posts today. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you for being with us today and I appreciate all your support.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Dasha and Albert.
Delighted.
I'll take a shot with you next.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
That was
you.
great.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. It was fabulous.
Bye-bye.
Fabulous.
Painted atmosphere.
Thank you, Fabulous.
Yeah, you painted atmosphere.
See you till end of the month in Las Vegas.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, we-
I will get a close up. Yes. Thank you. Bye.